Are you a scaling SaaS founder?
Ready to make the leap from leading a team to leading an organization? Join us each week as we refill your think tank with actionable tips and strategies from great business minds and those who don't know yet. This is SaaS Fuel with your host, 5-time entrepreneur, SaaS founder, and globetrotting adventurer, Jeff Maines.
Welcome back to the SaaS Fuel podcast, where dads are like seasoned coaches, setting up the plays, encouraging the team, and no one wanted to call a timeout for ice cream. I'm your host, Jeff Maines. Help B2B SaaS founders like you grow from traction to scale. Here, growth is more than just numbers. It's about crafting a future-proof company, premium valuation, and leaders who build a business of significance while living epic, adventurous lives. Dads hold the key to unlocking your inner leadership potential. Let me show you how. If you ask 100 people about business leadership, you'd probably hear about boardrooms and bottom lines and revenue and sales and all that stuff. But in my experience, some of the most profound leadership lessons come not from the office, but from the humble everyday role of being a father. Today, we're honoring dads and exploring the impact fathers have on shaping future leaders. Fathers play a significant role in teaching leadership lessons that extend far beyond the family dynamic. Their influence is profound, and it's surprising to me how the role of fathers in shaping future leaders is often underemphasized when conversations about leadership development. While mothers are recognized for their nurturing qualities, fathers' contributions to teaching essential leadership skills are sometimes overlooked. And this lack of emphasis is a challenge that should be addressed. Fatherhood is the ultimate leadership challenge, combining the need for patience, guidance, and unwavering support. The skills honed in parenting translate seamlessly into the business world, shaping leaders who inspire, nurture, and drive their teams to greatness. Here are some of the priceless leadership lessons I learned from my dad. The first is leading with empathy and understanding. Great fathers know that every child is unique, requiring personalized attention and care. Before I had kids, I assumed they'd all be alike. And if you have kids, you're probably laughing at that right now. And okay, I learned different. I have 3 kids, same parents, and they may look alike, but they are as different as each one can possibly be. And each one required different parenting. And similarly, great leaders understand the importance of empathy in managing their teams. Taking time to listen to your team members, learn their individual strengths and challenges, communication styles, and provide the support they need to thrive. It's like we have different personalities, different learning styles, different needs. Great leaders know those things. Empathetic leadership builds trust and loyalty, fostering a culture where everyone feels valued and understood. And that is a key to long term retention. And the second big lesson was patience and resilience. And growing up, I could really test patience. I don't know if you can relate to that, maybe as a parent, maybe as a kid when you were growing up, but I could definitely test patience and push boundaries. But fatherhood is a long-term commitment filled with ups and downs, mostly ups. But the patience required to guide children through their growth is equally vital in business and teammates. Challenges and setbacks, those ups and downs in business are just like in life are inevitable. But a leader's resilience sets the tone for the entire team. So how we handle things, how we bring those highs maybe down a little bit, maybe not, and bring those lows up a little bit, definitely. But showing the entire team patience in the face of adversity and resilience in pursuing goals and inspiring your team to do the same. The third was inspiring through example. And maybe you've heard the phrase that more is caught than taught. And that just means that kids learn what they see a lot more than what they're taught or what they're told to do. They model the behavior. And great fathers lead by example as well, modeling behaviors and values they want to instill in their kids. And in business, the same principle applies. Your actions speak way, way louder than your words. So demonstrate integrity, work ethic, a positive attitude. When your team sees you embodying these qualities, they're a lot more likely to follow suit and strive for excellence as well. The essence of great leadership is right in the qualities that make great fathers. They're synonymous. An important realization for me was the impact of words and words not only in the home but in the workplace as well, because of the relationships you have, not only with kids, but with employees, teammates. That has huge power, a lot more than I realized early on. All of those things are amplified. Praise or affirmation can absolutely make someone's day. And something said in anger or put down can crush someone's spirit. So use words wisely and build up your team. Do the same with your kids, build them up. It's a unique gift that fathers have to inspire and encourage. Your kids and your employees will absolutely believe they can conquer the world when you encourage them. And the best part is sometimes they actually can, and they go out there and do it and do amazing things. And when they try and fail, they're sure that they can do it next time when they know that you're behind them. It's absolutely amazing. But embracing empathy, patience, resilience, encouragement, and leading by example, you not only honor the role of fatherhood, but also elevate your leadership game. So, this Father's Day, let's celebrate the dads who have taught us so much about leading with heart and purpose. Whether you're guiding a team at work or nurturing a family at home, remember the values instilled by fathers and the spirit of fatherhood are the cornerstone of effective leadership. Embrace these lessons, honor the dads who exemplify them, and lead with the wisdom and compassion that only a father's love can teach. Our founder on Tuesday was Masoud Alabash, founder and CEO of Amadeus and Zebatech. We talked about the future of human and machine communication in SaaS, how AI is revolutionizing product and project management. Our expert guest last week was Bob Kawabi, a dedicated leader and founder of Virtual Family Office Planning, specializing in empowering self made business owners to achieve personal freedom and fulfill their soul purpose in life. Soul, SOUL. Such a great episode. If you missed either one of those, go back and check them out. My guest today is Oshri Cohen, master technologist, former startup executive who is revolutionizing the CTO role with fractional leadership in business, saving startups an average of 400K annually in leadership costs. That's pretty significant. He is reshaping technical recruiting using his team of engineer recruiters who deeply vet candidates before an introduction and offering a unique dev agency representation service to protect companies in their dealing with outsourced developers. Keep you from getting burned. Welcome a versatile problem solver and invaluable technical advisor to startup and Fortune 100 leaders alike, Oshri Cohen. Hey, Oshri, welcome to SaaS Fuel.
Thank you very much. I feel very welcome.
You are a fractional CTO specifically for B2B SaaS companies. What is the role of a fractional CTO? Who needs one?
A fractional CTO does exactly what a CTO is supposed to do. That's the thing. And and the reality is that, yes, while we only work about 2 hours a day, that's the value that a CTO is actually, for the title, for the salary, for the income that they're generating, for everything. That's where they really give value. Strategic leadership, technical leadership, training, coaching, process management, setting everybody up for success, and then backing away, and then doing something else related to the business. If the CTO is out there 8 hours a day, meetings with everyone, what's going on? Why is that person in the middle and not above the fray? And so a fractional CTO is like a full-time CTO minus all the bullshit. That's it. Straight up.
I love that.
Minus all the bullshit. No BS meetings. No, I gotta go for a cigarette break. None of that. It's 2 straight hours pounding the pavement and with value. It's quite something.
And it really is that strategic role. And so many small companies don't really need that role. And so they have somebody that's in there that's doing a bunch of other stuff and not necessarily what a CTO should be doing, but they have the title.
That's exactly true. Yes. So the CTO role will evolve in 4 generations of a business. If you're a startup, a generation is pretty quick. It's between funding, it's between major client, major growth. That's a generation from boom, you've evolved. If you're a small business, a generation could be 15, 20 years, right? It could be very long. You'll make an extra 100K every year. Okay, there you go. But in the tech world, scale is the name of the game. And so scaling of people is one of these problems. So in the first generation of your business, your CTO needs to be a developer. Straight, they need to sit down, they need to code, they need to write, they need to architect, design, whatever it is. So generation 2, they need to become a manager. Now, here lies the problem. We've got software development on one hand, which is creative, and management on the other hand. Now you are telling this creative individual, passionate about what they're doing in the business, building code, running it. That's the best time of your life. It's the funnest time. I've been in that situation many times. I love it. It's the best. Plus, you get to make all the decisions. Great. Even though it should be with your team, but I digress on that part. Then you're asking them to become a manager. Now they have to write tasks and manage people and their moods. I don't know if what humans are a pain in the ass to deal with, right? You know,
Yes.
it's true, but yeah, that's what it is. It's dealing with humans. Now, in the third generation, they have to become a leader, right? They have to manage managers. They might have 3-4 teams suddenly. They might have an injection of funding, of revenue, whatever it may be. The business is transforming again. And then in the fourth generation, they have to be a visionary. At the CTO level, you're now the visionary. Are you running a B2B SaaS? Great. Okay, now we have to rethink how we do integrations, because that's what I'm seeing going down the pipeline, right? When you deal with B2B SaaS, you're always dealing with integrations all the time. And so what are the chances that one person can fulfill that with all four of those roles and evolve in a timely manner? That's the problem. And so what I tell all startups, you get your CTO at generation 2, not at generation 1, even at generation 3. Get your CTO when you need a leader to bring your business up from one state onto a whole other state, right? To grow from 10 to 100 million, not from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
From 0 to 1, you need developers. You need crafty people. You need pragmatics. You need people that just are going to hit the ground running and just start coding.
Yeah. Very different skills. And even the CTO role is very different than the development role. Just like you said, creative and management, those are two different skill sets. And a lot of times, really good developers don't make great CTO. Sometimes they do. And the same thing's true of sales. Great salespeople often don't make great sales managers or leaders. It's just they're two very different skill sets, different types of people for different stages of the company.
Yeah, but to expect that someone can actually evolve into it and give them equity, so much equity, expecting that they would do. Most technical co-founders that I've met have left their jobs after 2 years, and they've left the equity behind, or they exercised part of it, or whatever it may be, or they had a different arrangement. But at the end of the day, they didn't like their job anymore.
Yeah. And that's my background is not technical. And so in building technical companies, I'm always looking for somebody on the technical side, but they don't necessarily have to be a co-founder. It's not necessarily always equity. What's your take on that in how you bring somebody into a company, or the argument that you have to have a technical co-founder in order to be successful?
So a technical co-founder needs to have a business background. They need to be useful in marketing and customer service and customer experience, product management, whatever it may be. They're a co-founder. They do everything, or they're part of every aspect of the business, along with the CEO, COO, whatever it is, the executive table. They need to understand that. If they're just a techie, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why give all that equity away? Just hire someone at that point. That's it. Just go ahead and hire someone. And so that's the problem. And I explain this to so many startup founders, and I give this analogy to so many startup founders. And a lot of them don't believe it because they're first-time founders. The second-time founders, they get it. They know. They don't get a CTO until they have 30 employees, 30 developers. They don't even bother with that because they know exactly how it's supposed to be, right? I tell founders and business owners that getting a technical co-founder off of a resume, off of just based on technical skills, is akin to getting married because you want your house cleaned. Right? Eventually your house will be cleaned, right? It will be spotless. But what do you do with this person now? They're useless otherwise, and they're not
Right.
compatible with you. So when you have
That's
this
tough.
short-term thinking and you give 30% of your life, your business, what you're building, 20%, whatever it may be, that's a significant investment in the wrong place. I would say you want to get a co-founder,
Mm.
get a sales co-founder, get a marketing, a growth co-founder. Sure, get an ops one. They'll help you out, right, in growing your business. But technical is a dime a dozen. What we do is not that amazing, right? A B2B SaaS is not that crazy of a product. It's not a technological innovation that requires these types of brains. They're rather simple web applications. Some of them, not all of them. Some are wildly complicated, but even they don't need a CTO. They just need a
Yeah.
tech lead.
So at what point should you be thinking about getting either a fractional CTO or a full-time CTO? What does that trajectory look like as you make it through those different iterations of the business?
So you get a fractional CTO at the beginning. At the beginning, because you need that advice. It's like going to court without a
That makes
lawyer.
sense.
You'd be pretty stupid to do that, especially if you don't have any technical skill whatsoever. So
Yeah.
you want to get this advice at the beginning, even if you have to pay by the hour. I sit with many first-time founders. They pay me my $400 or $500 an hour. I listen to them. I give them a couple of tips, and I suddenly change their entire worldview in a few minutes.
Yes.
I was thinking this way. Now I'm thinking the other way completely,
Yep.
right? Because you've
Million
changed
dollar million dollar mind shift.
completely, and it's just like that. This happens mostly with AI founders. They'll want AI, they have nothing, and I don't even know what to do with you at this point, right? I want to fly. Do you have wings? No. Do you know how to fly a plane? No. Life sucks right now for you, doesn't it? So get a fractional CTO at the beginning because they'll help you organize your mind, organize your thought. They'll help you build your development team, hire the right people. All of these startup founders, they'll end up going to a dev agency who will sell them the kitchen sink, and they'll agree to it
Yeah.
because they think that's what they need. Where a fractional CTO will tell you, no, you don't need that. Don't develop this part. That's not how we do things, and save you $50 and $100,000 at every step of the way because we have the experience. A fractional CTO should be minimum 20 years of experience in the business. Like just don't you don't even talk to one with less than that. There's no point, right? So that's when you get one, and it's it doesn't take a lot. I managed a dev team of 5 developers, an hour a day, and after a few months, once I created a strong process, I had a hard time finding what to do. There wasn't that much more to do because at some point you hit this flow state where you're just pushing out features. The business is growing. Nothing really changes. Everything is so frictionless. You feel like, is there any work left to do? Because I'm used to fighting fires all the time, but there are no more fires to fight. Because when you do things
That's a great
properly,
place to be.
yeah, it's a great place to be. Because once you do things this way, that's it. There's nothing else. And how can I say? And so, when is the right time to get a full-time CTO? If you're, let's say, in B2B SaaS, because this is the podcast, right?
Right.
And you're B2B SaaS now, you've pivoted and you need to sell to enterprise. Okay, because B2B SaaS, your little HubSpot there is fine. But now when you get into enterprise and you have to deal with really difficult concepts with permissions, authentication, logins, and so on and so forth, it gets a little bit more complicated. Get a CTO at that point that can talk to clients at that level. Get one who deals with enterprise. Great, excellent. Is that person going to influence software development? Probably not. But they will help you open the market and they will help you create processes at a much higher level, at the level that enterprise requires you to. That's when you get that CTO. The traditional role of the
Yeah.
CTO is to market technologies, to bring technology to the market. That was the traditional role, right? You bring in a CTO because now you need to sell this, the thing that you built, not to
Right.
actually invent it all, right? But yes, now it's a different definition. Now they come in to invent.
Yeah. Very different business stage for sure. One thing you mentioned earlier, just the analogy, which I think is just brilliant, about getting married because you need your house cleaned. And I've seen that happen multiple times. I've been in situations where we've had to buy back equity from somebody that we never should have brought on in the first place. How can SaaS founders navigate and prevent potentially company sinking situations like that?
Well, look at it this way. I'm going for funding right now for a B2B SaaS. There we go. For a B2B SaaS. And I've been dating my co-founder for 2 years. We've been talking about this and we've been meeting. And the guy lives in Boston and another one lives halfway across the world. And we meet every couple of months and we talk it out. And we get to know each other on a personal basis, what our values actually are.
Yeah.
When you see people looking for co-founders online, like I'm looking for a technical co-founder, read that. Imagine if you saw an ad, I am looking for life partner. Those are red flags. I was going to say I was
Yes.
looking for wife, whatever your flow is, but
Yeah.
still, what do you mean? You should get married like that? What, after a test? I don't
Right.
understand.
Right. Yeah. Here, go take this test. All right. Yay, you passed. Let's get
Yeah,
married.
you're partner
That's
material.
crazy, but that is the business environment that we live in
Right? And
sometimes.
it's ridiculous. And I've spoken to VCs as well, and they all say the same thing. It's these companies are coming to us with a technical co-founder who's basically just technical. Why is that person here? They don't want to see that. What they actually want to see is a technical co-founder who has a business background. That's what they want to
Hmm.
see. That's what gives them confidence. The entire founding team has a business background. They understand the world, they understand the industry. A From a very broad sense, or they bring something so hyper specific to the table that it makes sense. So bring in a CTO if you're an AI company and you're creating actual AI, and that person, let's say, is a PhD in that. But that's a CTO at a technical level and by title, not at the executive level for management. It's two different
Yeah.
things.
You've also disrupted the technical recruiting business in some pretty big ways for your clients. I mean, how is your model of using engineers as recruiters enhancing the hiring process?
So yeah, technical recruiting is broken. Everybody will tell you that, including recruiters, right? Developers will tell you that they hate it. Candidates hate it. Hiring managers
Yeah.
despise it. HR, oh, another developer to hire. I don't want to do this again. It's a very fragmented and difficult market because to evaluate a developer, it cannot be done by just anyone checkboxing. Oh, you have Node.js, click. Oh, you have this, click. Oh, you have that, click. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have this one random requirement that was shoved in there. I have no idea what it is. I'm just asking you, do you have this? And like a bozo check
Right. They
box.
want
You
to,
check a box, right? And fit
yeah.
that human mind that is supposed to be creative, that is supposed to solve problems for you into a tight little box with features on it. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Yes, you should have technical skills, obviously, but it's your mindset. How do you think about problems is what is not evaluated in the technical recruiting business right now. Surely not by technical recruiters out there. They're glorified salespeople who know an acronym or two. .NET. Yeah,
Yep.
what about it? What about .NET? How is it relevant? How is it the same as Java? And how is it the same as this and this? And the knowledge from there, can you take it over there? You have no idea. So when a developer sends you a resume, they're applying for a job. You read this, you're like, it doesn't have the right keywords. But when my firm does technical recruiting, we take a look at this. And I'm like, okay, so my client is asking for Microsoft SQL Server, and you have Postgres. You're totally fine. I don't care. As long as you've done databases, it's fine. It'll take you 3 hours to figure out the slightly modified syntax, which is accounts for 1% changes between those two database technologies.
Sure.
You're good. You're fine. And then I
Yeah.
would explain that to my client as well, right? So how we do technical recruiting is, yes, we use developers, but we also use CTOs to do the
Mm.
actual recruiting. Because who better to do recruiting than people who build awesome teams? Now, a CTO would hate
Yeah.
to do technical recruiting normally, so I only use fractional CTOs, and it's worked out very well so far. because at the screening stage, at the stage where you would say yes or no, pass it to the client, and the client will now have their 3, 4 interviews, hopefully not. Maximum we advise is 2 interviews, client side. But by the time the client gets a candidate from us, we have already evaluated them on a technical basis, their creativity, their problem solving skills, their communication, their how they handle a challenge, because we will have written a custom technical assessment that is entirely verbal. You have to be able to communicate, because we only hire senior developers, and senior developers, they need to communicate. It's really fairly simple, right? And we would have passed them through this questioning of about 45 minutes to an hour. Once I had 3 hours, it was very long, but it was a fantastic conversation. I didn't want to stop with the candidate. It was just great.
Ready to dominate your market and skyrocket your revenue? Dive into Small Fish, Big Pond, building a world class business that swims circles around competitors. This book is packed with powerful marketing and leadership insights guaranteed to transform your business and operate world class. Small Fish Big Pond delivers proven strategies to sharpen your marketing message, deliver unmatched value to your clients, and guide your prospects' buying journey to one inevitable conclusion: that your company is the only solution for them. Inside, you'll find step by step frameworks and time tested growth principles to attract your ideal clients, convert them, and turn them into your brand ambassadors. Get your copy today, print, ebook, or audio at smallfishbigpond.com or Amazon. Plus, remember, every book sale supports charity. Dive in and make a difference.
Yes, but it's the reality is that it's a CTO who makes that decision as to whether that person is good enough for the client, and that is a
Yes.
very big
Yes.
difference, right? That doesn't that's
Yeah.
you never get that.
And the
So
other, if we're not looking for direct hires, a lot of times, if we're not technical, or even those that are, outsource development. And so we'll find an agency that pitches us. I get pitches in my email, literally probably one a day,
mhm.
about, say, outsource development. How do we know if they're right, or what are some misconceptions about that that you fix?
Oh boy, working with dev agencies is like working with a nefarious genie. He's got,
It's true. That is
from
true.
Aladdin. Yeah, from Aladdin says, "I want to be rich." Okay, here you go. You're rich now. Oh, but I didn't want it that way. You should have specified
Yeah.
the nuances, buddy. I can't read your mind. But in that case, the genie wants to just give you all of the wishes as quickly as possible so you stop bothering him. And the agency wants to take all of your money as quickly as possible so they won't even challenge you. So, what the heck? It's like getting defended in court by the prosecutor. That's not the person you want defending you. They're not in your corner. They're there to put you in jail, right? And so I represent a lot of clients with their dev agencies. And the kinds of things we see is just absolutely bonkers, right? From communication to solution design to the quality of the work afterwards. This doesn't make any sense, right? And so I attach myself to clients and I advise them like their technical lawyer. I come in, I work with the agency, I am in every meeting, I'm in every email, in every chat thread that I need to be in. I help them across the board to ask for the right thing, to know what to ask for, and to design the solution for them, because I don't think the dev agency should be the one designing the
Hmm.
solution,
Really good.
right? They can design small things, but I wouldn't want them in charge of architecture, because if it's a fixed cost project, they're going to want to do it as
Right.
cheap as possible, higher profit margin. If it's a time and material project, they're going to want to extend this thing
Yeah.
until the cows come home, because they're making money. Great, that's exactly
Yeah.
what you want. And they won't tell you if you're wrong, if you're making a mistake, if there's a better solution, because they want that change
Of
request,
course.
which is now they got you by a vice grip. They got you in a vice grip. What are you
Yeah,
going to do?
yeah, you
Say
go down the
no?
wrong path for 3 months and then
You're
change.
75%
Now,
in.
hey, we build for 3 months, and now, okay, change request, we'll do something different. And you're not gonna bail on the
Yeah,
project because it's the sunk cost fallacy. Yeah,
you're all in it.
we're in it this
Yep, you
far.
have now. You're going to continue guaranteed. Guaranteed you're going to continue no matter how much they throw it at you. Oh, adding this button, $5,000. What?
Yeah.
Amazing. You're going to cry, you're going to fret, you're going to punch the wall. And then ultimately at the end of the day, you're going to say yes because you need your product out. But if you had an FCTO with you, a CTO for your project, that's a different ballgame altogether.
Do you have any, I don't know, maybe some juicy horror stories from experience in dealing with some outsourced development agencies or things that you found that like this doesn't smell right?
Yeah. Oh boy, we can be here. How long you got? You got another 2 hours. A juicy one is a dev agency for. I did this audit for a client who was losing his mind, right? And unfortunately, I wasn't involved in the project. Otherwise, it would have never happened. But I did this audit. He had asked for a subscription-based payment system to be implemented.
Sure.
Right? Your standard, put in your credit card, I charge you every month. Great, perfect. Standard in B2B SaaS. Really, no issues whatsoever. And what he got was a complete replication of what Stripe would normally do for you for free. Right? Stripe would handle subscriptions and cancellations and this and that and automatically build a client and all of that stuff. That's in exchange for the fee you pay each transaction. You get a full payment system. What did they do? They implemented Stripe, but only the payment processing, and then they built everything else manually. The subscription model, the recurring payment, and they did it badly at that. They did it badly. Based on my estimates, just of how the code was run and organized, they would have failed after about 1,500 customers per month and wouldn't been able to process any more than that. And if a payment failed, you were basically screwed. You would double bill everybody because they didn't have a self-healing system. And so my client paid an extra 100K for that. He didn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody told him. He doesn't know. What do you know? You say Stripe to anybody, most people right over their heads. Okay, I guess we have to build it. And that's exactly what they did. And then when he asked for a support tool, instead of putting in something like Zendesk, they built a whole Q&A, a forum, a way to escalate a support ticket. They did everything manually. And I'm looking at this. This is ridiculous. This is completely absurd, right? And when I laid this out, he ended up firing them. Because, obviously they did garbage work. And it took us a month of work just to be able to put it online when we took it over. Then I brought in contractors and whatnot to help them out after the audit, because as part of the audit I do, I tell them what you need to do in order to rectify this. Yeah, that's $150,000 down the drain of a $400,000 project.
So as you transition from a dev agency to being self-sufficient, how does that process happen? And then how do you become independent where the dev team builds it and then you maintain it and run it and you're not dependent?
Yeah, so you have to guide the development with the dev agency. You have to guide the development with the dev agency. And you have to tell them what and how they're going to do the work. Okay? And so without an FCTO, you're at their mercy. You have no technical skill. They could tell you you need a V6 motor in there, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's what I need," and that's it. Now, depending on how they built it, will define how complicated the hosting methodology, the hosting technologies will be, and how complicated the maintenance will be. Now, if you let the dev agency make all the decisions, they're going to build it in such a way that you have to go back to them because they'll build it in a non-standard way. That's 99.999% of dev agencies. Then you've got the 0.01% of the market, and still that's a few hundred, right? There's a lot of dev agencies out there. They're in the hundreds of thousands. So you've got all of these dev agencies. And so once you have the source code delivered and you know how it was built and how many people you need on staff and so on, so because you might only need a contractor 10 hours a week to maintain it because that's all you need to do, right? If you don't have technical leadership, you cannot divorce from the dev agency. A lot of people think, dev agency will deliver the product. Great, excellent. Let me make some money. Woohoo, Forbes 30 under 30. Doesn't work that way. Not in the slightest. It doesn't work that way. And so in order to divorce from a dev agency, you have to spin up your own technical organization internally, either contractors or full-time developers. But you are not going to just divorce from the dev agency and then suddenly, miraculously, operate this technology that you have no skill in. And guess what? It just keeps running. That's not going to happen anytime in any way, shape, or form, right? Code actually rots. Like it goes bad. Code will actually go bad, right? As
Makes
technology
sense.
evolves, as systems evolves, as your needs evolves, your technology will go bad and you will need to change it. You'll need to
Sure.
refreshen it. That's just part of the deal. Software development is a constant expense. It's like buying a house. Hey, I bought a house. No more expenses with rent. Woo-hoo.
Right.
Oh, the roof leaked for the fourth time this year. Okay, great. So that's it.
If you're looking in managing an engagement with a dev, what are the most critical factors you consider when you're overseeing those projects?
They provide you with a technical architecture, first of all. They're telling you this is how we're going to build it. They care about the user flow. Okay, so they say words like, hey, before we build this and design it, we should design your
That's
customer journey
important.
first. Yeah, how will people
Yeah.
use the system from beginning to end? How will they do that? That's it. And if they don't do that, then all you're doing is you're spewing some requirements, they're interpreting the requirements, and they're spewing something back at you and be like, I think this is it. And maybe you'll be annoyed enough to leave them alone and approve it. And that's it, you know? And just say,
Yeah.
all right, forget about it. I don't care
Should
anymore.
they be giving
Just
you
do
the
it.
architecture, or should that be
Right?
something that you're giving them and really very tightly defined requirements? Or how much of it is telling them what to do versus collaboration?
So, depending on the quality of the dev agency, that's the thing. So if you're paying top dollar and you're hiring a North American dev agency and it's North American devs, you're going to pay through the roof, but you're going to probably get really good product. Because if you don't, you can sue them because you have the capabilities to sue them because they're within your judicial system. You hire someone halfway around the world, they barely speak any English, you've got no
Right.
controls and no protections. Yeah,
And so that's
that's
where you
it.
really need to have that fractional
That's
CTO
that's the thing.
involved in that process and in the design and the architecture
Yeah.
and help do that. Because a lot of times that is the case. People go with agencies because they're cheaper, or at least perceived to be cheaper than hiring direct.
Mhm. Perceived, very big perceived, because what a lot of people don't realize is that once the dev agency delivers your code, you have to change it right away. Not because they did a bad job, even if they did a good job. It's because software is continuously maintained. You don't build. It's not like earbuds you're building and selling and that's it. And you're done and copy
Right.
paste. That's not how it is, right? You're going to learn something new about your customers on day one. You're going to have another idea on day one. You're going to need to maintain it. And I am adamant about this. Dev agencies should not be hired for maintenance. Keep them at the initial development phase, push through because they can spin up a technical organization really quickly, right? They can build it out really quickly. That's their efficiency. And then divorce from them and build
Mm.
your own engineering team. Or while you're working with the dev agency, you're spinning up an engineering team.
Makes
Even if
sense.
it's a team of one, that's it. Even if it's just a contractor, right? So I'm working with one client an hour a week, just an hour. They have a contract of 40 hours. An hour a week, I meet with them. I say, this is it. I review some code. Excellent. Carry on. Move forward. But the client is happy because there's oversight. The contractor is happy because they're not working by themselves, right? And I'm happy because I get paid. That's,
That's
and I like
great.
the help.
You give an
So, yeah.
example where intervention as a fractional CTO, whether it was you or one on your team, dramatically change the outcome of a project or even the entire trajectory of a startup?
Yeah, there's one startup. There are marketing agencies. It's not really a startup because dev agencies are often not hired by startups, right? They're more often hired by B2B and whatnot. But although there's a lot of B2B startups, fintech startups that will hire a dev agency to build an app or whatever it is, just to have an MVP and throw it all away as soon as they get their first few customers
Hmm.
because it's so badly built, right? That's the thing. So it would have been 50, 60, 100, $200,000
Wow.
wasted, gone, because that's just how they do it. Boy, we changed the trajectory. Yes. So this marketing agency had a dev agency developers, and they had a long-term relationship with them, right? They had built a system. It was mostly well built. The code was very well written, but it was architected. It was not architected at all. It was just not architected at all. And they were having failures and issues constantly that required the developers to go in and fix data manually. I saw that. I'm like, this cannot be. You're not allowed to operate at this level. This is not how things are done. And so I ended up leveling up the dev agency with the client's permissions. Like, we like them, we want to work with them, we work with them for so many years. But how can I say? But we need them to level up. And I leveled that dev agency up and I worked with them. We redesigned the architect, redesigned all the systems. They learned, they loved every minute of it. They loved every minute of it, which gave me the idea of auditing and evolving dev agencies. But you'd be surprised how many don't care. They just don't care because
Yeah.
their clients don't care. Their clients don't care if they're good. It boggles the mind. And if I had $20 million in the bank to educate the world, I would educate the world, right? Because it takes that much time. And so that's one way that it changed the trajectory of the business entirely, because they were going to, yeah, I remember this example. So it was one requirement, just one requirement, one line requirement that would have cost them $60,000. Because I spot things. So you see there, I was like, uh-oh, this is bad idea. Just one statement. The requirement was that they were to build a dashboard, AI dashboard, by dragging and dropping elements onto the screen to design a dashboard. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I asked them a very simple question. How often will your users actually redesign the dashboard exactly? Like, how often do you think this going to happen? It's going to happen once, twice, maybe, and that's it, right? You're not exactly a super BI system that is super customizable. You're a BI system within ads. It's there's only so many reports you
Makes
can
sense.
build, right? And so why are you building it as drag and drop, which is a very complicated system to build? It's very hard to build. It requires a lot of effort and a lot of cost when you could just have boxes with a drop down of what report you want to put in there, and that's it. Done. And so through my involvement, we reduced the cost by $50,000. And that's just me reading with my morning coffee, just reading the issues that are coming in. I'm like, oh, what's going on? What is this there? That's weird. Send a Slack message. Someone explain me this. What's going on with this? And so that basically paid for my fee. That one call and that one change paid for my entire fee with the client.
That's huge. You said at the beginning, it's that $1 million
Yeah,
mindset shift.
that's the thing. Right? A fractional CTO is a technology lawyer. You don't talk to them all the time. But when you contact them and they give you advice and they tell you, no, don't say you murdered the person, not to the judge. Please don't say that. And you don't, you might not go to jail. Don't say you're guilty. It's fairly
Yeah.
simple advice.
Well, where do you see the future of technology going? So what is next? What is the next few years, tech trends? What are you seeing in the marketplace you think will be big?
AI will come and die. It will come and go in its current iteration. So in its current iteration, it's going to come, it's going to go, it's going to disappear, and that's it. And then it's going to evolve into what it's supposed to be. Right now, it's a lot of hype around AI and generative AI and LLMs and all of that business, right? Everybody wants to be ChatGPT. Everybody wants to chat with their software. It's the worst possible interface you can imagine because most people can't even ask a question properly. verbalize to me what it is that you want me to do. So tell my software rather than scroll through all the reports and see the reports that kind of matches what I think I want. And I click on it and then I see it. And then I just do everything manually, right? It requires this mindset shift. So all of these AI companies are going to come and go. That's for sure. And then not like OpenAI, they're here to stay, they're too big, but the smaller ones. And then you're going to have more mature AI coming down the pipeline within a few years, right? So we're going to have this like the hype chart that goes up. We're going to go through the trough of disappointment or disillusionment, and then it's going to go to maturity. So we're heading on that downhill. We're not at the peak yet.
So what does mature AI look like? What is that next stage?
I have no idea. I have no idea. What I do know is that it can't be running on these massive data centers. It's not scalable, right? I read somewhere that every request you send to ChatGPT costs about 14 liters of water. I mean, because in terms of cooling and electricity generation, that's a lot of water. I'm like, I don't know how accurate that is. I saw that somewhere, and I'm like, that's pretty intense.
Where can people learn more about you online?
I don't shut up on LinkedIn. I just don't. That's right from the get-go. So if you follow me, bless the heart of your inbox. But on redcorner.io, that's my fractional CTO firm. And that's it. So you can find me there. You can find me on my site. If you Google Oshri Cohen CTO, you're going to find a lot of YouTube videos of a lot of podcasts that I've done saying all of the same stuff I said here already.
Excellent. We'll make sure and link that in the show notes and to your sites as well. So Oshri, thanks for being on the show. It's a great conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Oshri, for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom and insights. Super helpful to have fractional help to keep dev on time and on budget. Looking back, I know the few times that I would have loved to have had somebody like Oshri on my team. Would have been super, super helpful, especially working with outsourced companies. Is what they're telling me the real deal? I don't know, but Oshri does. You can learn more about Oshri at oshricohen.me. As always, all links, highlights, resources, and full show notes are available at saasfuel.com. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel as well. Full video episodes, shorts, training, some outtakes, lots of stuff out there for you. Thought leaders share. And if that's you, share this episode with a dad that you respect. The team and I appreciate it, and I know that they will be encouraged by that as well. And everyone who shares this week gets a Grill Sergeant apron, equipped with pockets for all your barbecue tools and a built-in speaker that plays classic dad rock. Grill steaks and stereotypes with equal flair. Just don't forget to flip the burgers when you're on your air guitar. Join us next Tuesday where our founder is Jeremy Laceris. He's built and sold 8 companies in tech, SaaS, payments, and healthcare. He'll be here to talk about lessons learned, leading with purpose, and his next big project, which was one of his biggest yet. You won't want to miss that. And then next week on our SaaS Fuel Expert Series, we have Gary Harbst, who led Solomon Software for 20 years to a big exit. Gary now runs Lead First. We'll talk about leadership, purpose, and also about his new book called Built to Beat Chaos. Have a great week. Happy Father's Day. And as always, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to SaaS Fuel. Full show notes for each episode, which includes a summary, key takeaways, quotes, and any resources mentioned, are available at saasfuel.com. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're enjoying the content and getting value from these episodes, please leave us a rating and review at ratethispodcast.com/saasfuel. We'll be sure to read these out on future episodes.